Welcome back to the Desk Talk Podcast with your hosts, Trent Werner and Alex Magala, bringing you weekly episodes talking business, personal development, and all things real estate. Let's do it!
We will just roll with it.
All right.
Lean with it, roll with it, rock with it. Is that the song?
It is not, but it was close. All right, welcome back to the desk. Let's talk. We're going to talk about productivity today. I personally feel like I am slammed busy right now, which I'm not complaining about. I'm just making a comment about it. And I feel like I am very productive lately. And I wanted to talk about it, see what Alex's thoughts were on it, share a little bit about my own thoughts. So, Alex, where are you at currently with your schedule? Would you say you're about par? Are you a little bit more busy than typical? Or are you a little bit less busy than typical? Let's talk about that first.
If you look at my schedule, like log into my Excel or whatever, you look at like my calendar, it looks pretty empty. You know, there's not many physical in-person meetings that I book on my calendar that I have to like show up to and put the alert for 15 minutes before. It's a lot of virtual, hopping on a Zoom call, whatever. So my calendar looks empty, but my days are constantly packed with tons of different things. That's kind of the pleasure of the mortgage world, the real estate world, being a realtor, being a lender. You kind of have the freedom to work whenever, especially with an environment after COVID. Now that I can work from home and kind of, 9 a.m. to whatever time I work on mortgages, I could go work on a side hustle here or there. So it's just I know I have a long laundry list of tasks to get done, and it's kind of the freedom to tackle them. So can I say productivity has increased? It's probably stayed the same. I'm still getting the equivalent amount of work done. I could probably afford to figure out how to grow and add more to that. But right now it's at a pretty peak level. And I've been saying that since March of last year. I'm sure a lot of people have. It's been a crazy time in our industry for a long time.
But you feel like you're still at the point that you're not falling behind with what you have on your plate.
No, and I think I'm good about it with getting up early, doing things in the morning. I'm a morning person. I don't get up early and then just sit there most of the time. We hop on the stock market and we're looking at that. Or they're just doing tons of different things where I'm up and already starting my day and kind of getting after it is big. And half the time it's literally like 10 a.m. and I'm sitting there and I'm like, holy crap, like I've done so much. It feels like the day's already over, but I've still so much left of that day. And so that's kind of the pleasure of where I'm at. And I guess you could say, yeah, productivity is great because I'm getting to that point where I'm like, oh my God, I've done so much and it's only 10 or it's only 9:30. And I've done that like 3 or 4 times this week where it's just been like, wow, I've accomplished all my big tasks for the day. Like, now I can do these little things, and I can start to do like smaller things. So it's nice. I guess I'm way ahead.
Yeah.
Now that I'm talking about it.
And that's what I was going to say. From an outside perspective, I know we've kind of added a few similarities to our extracurricular activities as of late. Yeah. And I would say just from an outside perspective, your productivity has increased just because I know that mine has. And I feel like I'm able to take on more simply because we're getting up earlier. I know, I'm up at like 5:30 lately. Sometimes I'll work out in the morning. Sometimes I can't get on the bike. But between getting back into the stock market every day, adding baseball coaching, for both of us after or in the afternoons, early evening time, plus, mortgage, real estate, working with clients that way, and then property management for me right now. And then trying to figure out how I'm going to offload this freaking condo that I've been trying to sell for 3 months. I feel like I am almost at max and setting my golf schedule, my golf tournament schedule for this summer.
Yeah, and like this podcast, like recording these,
we got a lot going on.
Our schedules.
We got a lot going on right now, and I would say my productivity has definitely increased. I also, have an fantastic teammate in Jess, and she has helped my productivity immensely. So huge shout out to Jess. And without her, I don't think I'd be able to, do everything that I currently am right now, which is awesome. So
there you go.
That leads me into my next question, because lately there have been some tasks, like you said, I have a long list of tasks. There have been some tasks that get bumped to the next day or 2 days from now. And so I wanted to discuss that. When that happens with you, what's your thought process and how do you decide, okay, I have 4 things left to do, but I only have time for 3 of them before practice. And then after practice, I have another meeting. What am I going to do right now and what can wait?
Yeah. Well, I've been this way for a long time. I don't even know, probably back into high school. I've been really religious with like to-do lists. Basically used to write them out in like the morning, whether it was like what homework was due, what classes I had, just like weird things. I've always done to-do lists, and then I go back through that and I do like a priority ranking. And like I said, no free ads, but there's an app now for it. It's called like Task on your phone. It's a little paid for app, but back in college I downloaded this app, and ever since then I've been using it. And basically, usually sometimes the night before, if I'm good about it, I'll go in there and it's like everything that I forgot to do or didn't get to that day, I put in the list for the next day. And then when I wake up in the morning, I start hammering out things that I remember of things I need to do that day. And usually those priority rankings, it's ranked by like a date and a time of when it needs to be completed. And so like if I didn't get it to it on Tuesday and it rolls into Wednesday, it's now like highlighted red. And so it kind of tells me which ones I need to go after first. And obviously there's rankings where sometimes something's going to come up in the day, like, getting a pre-approval out because the buyer wants to make an offer like right away, or switching up the numbers on a pre-approval, like weird things like that where it's going to kind of go to the top of my list right away because these things can kind of wait, even though I didn't get to them that day before. So I've been religious about a to-do list for a long time, and I think that's probably what I can attest to a lot of me staying on track. Every time, and you can walk into my office right now, and I have a huge stack of them because I literally save them from when I used to write them hand by hand, and I stopped using my phone. I'd write them day by day, hand by hand, and I'd save it so that with a little checkbox, if I didn't get to it, I just brought it to the list the next day. And so I have a fat stack of them where it's just if I'm not doing it on my phone, I'm doing it on paper, and that's the only way where if I don't do it, I feel lost in a day where it's just it's my mind racing, kind of asking oh, did I get it done? Did I not do it? What did I miss? What did I do this? And that causes anxiety with me. So it's just if I have it on the list, then I know I didn't get to it. I can move it to the next day. So I'm religious about it, but I don't know. What do you do?
As bad as it's going to sound, I kind of just base it off of what's going to bring in the most revenue. So if I have something where, maybe in the morning I got a good stock play that after hours there's a big move, so I'm going to get up and I'm going to kind of pay attention to that because there's maybe potentially thousands of dollars on the line, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because Trent's a big trader.
I'm getting to whale status. You'll see it. I'll start live streaming once I hit 100 G's. But, so that's one thing. Or brokerage, because obviously brokerage brings in more revenue than property management for me. So if it's something where, a client wants to go see something, wants to submit an offer, maybe it's working on a deal that's already in contract, getting something finalized, or, maybe it's a meeting with a potential client or a conversation with a potential client. I'm going to take those tasks and put them ahead of, double checking an owner statement or, clarifying the utility billing for a property. That stuff I can send an email, remind myself, or, ask for help on it. Whereas if I have someone that wants to talk about a pro forma that they put together, I'm gonna set aside time for that. So
would you say that after a certain amount of time, so say 1 p.m., could a money-making activity after 1 p.m. kind of be bumped to the next day, or maybe 2 p.m.? What's that time frame where it's it's kind of the cutoff in a normal 9 to 5 work day where, obviously we have a lot of extended hours work, but in a normal 9 to 5 work day, what's that cutoff time where it's kind of money-making activities versus the smaller tasks? Because people in your situation, kind of like you, could benefit greatly from blocking out the first, whether it's 9 to 11, 9 to noon, 9 to 11 with lunch, and then an hour afterwards, all money-making activities where it's just everything that's going to make you the most money is what you're doing, and then the last half of your day is responding to emails, doing all like those menial tasks where it's, it's not making you money, but it's going to get you to that next step where then they graduate to, okay, now you're money making activity.
I would say my cutoff or my time frame is 6 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. That's going to be, I respond to revenue generating emails. I'm not responding to the little knick-knack stuff. I'm handling brokerage, market, whatever the revenue generating activities. At 3, typically I will start responding to the less urgent emails, the texts that I got and missed, even if it's from the previous day. I've tried to get a lot better at responding to text messages. My phone I have 2 of them, and just for reference, I have 725 unread messages, text messages right now. Yeah. So I'm trying to get that number lower, and so at the end of the day when I'm doing emails, I'll do 20 minutes of email, and then I'll sit down and I'll try to get through messages, open them, read them, that kind of thing, respond to some of them. And then, if we have baseball practice, then obviously I get a little break that way, or I'll just try to take an hour break in the afternoon. I do take a lunch typically, and then, I can respond to emails while I'm watching TV or hanging out with the wife and that kind of thing too.
Yeah. I mean, that's just for a lot of people where they kind of look at their life in that way, where I kind of want to do the things that I know are going to generate the most income first, and then I'll kind of handle everything afterwards. It's give yourself strict hours. Maybe it is breaking it up. It's 6 to 9, it's just money making, and then from 9 to 10 you're doing small little tasks, and then from 11 to 1, 2 you have your hour lunch in there, whatever. It's just kind of break your day up to where you can still not forget about so much of those things. But when you were saying that, if anyone is listening to this and they're an app developer, Apple can probably integrate this super easily. But a great benefit in my life would be if someone texted me or sent an email or something, and I could hold down, or I could send it and push it and basically say notify me at this time to respond, or to do this, or look at this. And you could send it in a bunch. If I get 10 texts, I could send those 10 texts in a bunch to be okay, I'm responding at these at 4 p.m. and your phone notifies you. Because if I don't respond to it right away, most of the time I open it, but then now that it's open and I don't see that message, I forget to go back to it. It's just sometimes you open messages and then jump to the next one and kind of forget about them. So yeah, if there was an app out there that you could do that.
Hey Siri, remind me to text Alex McGulla back in 10 minutes.
Yeah, dude, that's a pain. I just want a quick little press and hold and then be group.
Done.
Group. I don't want Siri. I don't want to have to hold my phone and let Siri know every single time. I might as well get a pager at that rate.
That's okay. All right. You touched on a good point there, and that's reminders, to-do lists, task lists. I think those are important, but I hate when people get stuck to them. On a Saturday, you got to be able to relax. You can't be okay, Saturday we have this, and this on my list.
Yeah, I mean,
so you have to be able to know, you're talking about, is kind of set hours for yourself. And I think with being self-employed, all 3 of us can attest to this. We have the freedom to decide when we want to work, and if we want to work longer hours one day, shorter hours the next day. If we want to coach baseball, if we want to go climb, whatever it may be, we have the freedom to do that. When someone has a 9-to-5 job and they are required to be clocked in for a certain amount of hours, do you think that person is going to be more productive than someone that's a self-employed person? Forget about it. No chance. Someone that's 9-to-5 might have certain tasks they have to get done, but if they do them before noon, they might be watching YouTube videos at their desk for the rest of the day. For us, if we get the certain things that we have to do done by noon or 11 a.m., we can go do whatever we want the rest of the day. Or we can then start looking forward and doing other activities that...
Getting ahead.
Yeah,
that's exactly. The pleasure of it. Yeah, no, I love it. Ever since starting coaching baseball, so many of those kids or, the coaches there, even the number one thing that I've been asked thus far is just you're allowed to be here, you've got time to do it, or is your manager okay with it? And it's just yeah,
you're talking to
them. We have the freedom to do exactly what we want to do. Believe it or not, I'm actually all caught up. I don't have any more work, so I get to be here and not have to worry about work after getting out at 5:30 versus someday, like one day last week, it was like, God, I got to go home and do a bunch of work after this. So it's just like, you can either slack off and have to do it after, or get ahead and kind of give yourself that freedom. Get off at 2 p.m. So it's just, that's kind of the nature of being productive and being a self-employed person. I think writing it down, tracking it, or using digitally, whatever it is, just knowing it and then setting those boundaries and those limits.
And if you want to learn how to leverage other
People,
tools or levers to make yourself more productive, you can definitely go check out one of our previous episodes with Chris Shepard when we talk about leverage and the different ways to utilize leverage in your life. That's all I have for our productivity topic. Alex, do you have anything else?
No. I mean, if you lack the ability to kind of be productive, small habits. That's literally where you start. Just start small, day by day, changing one thing. You don't need to change your whole schedule at once. Just little things. Get in the same habit of waking up early and doing something right after that. So that's all I'd say to it. Productivity can be like learned.
Yeah, and developed and grown. That's all we got. We're at the desk. We're done talking. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Adios.
Peace. That's the end of today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. It truly means a lot to us. If you haven't already, please subscribe and share this with friends. This helps fuel the podcast and gets more and more guests on our show. Hey, go follow us on Instagram as well, Desk Talk Podcast. Go connect with Trent and I as well. We're on Instagram too, LinkedIn, you name it. Stay tuned for more episodes. Peace.